Yes, people, what's going on? Welcome back to Saeed TV, and we are live for the Best of the Rest show. We're in the building, we're here, we're live and kicking. Slightly a bit later than usual, but listen, we're here, and that is the main thing, man. We've got Premsy in the building. People are saying, don't go anywhere, man. Don't go anywhere.
I was just laughing at that, to be fair. Don't worry, man, ain't going anywhere. You get me? I've had my time this season. Gloating. I think it's only right. You get me, people? It's only right. I'm here. Hands up. No mask on. I was going to put it on, but nah, face blatant. You get me? That's how man does things. If you know, you know, innit? So
Come
we're
on.
here, people. We're here.
Come on, man. Good to see you in there. Monts is in the building. Monts, 3 point collectors. It seems like when you win emphatically, man. There's no in between, man.
Yeah,
So,
there's no middle
play,
ground
man.
possible. You know what I'm saying?
No middle ground.
But thank
What are
God
you
for having
saying,
me, man. I'm all right, man. I'm here. I'm Judge Monts today. Do you know what I'm saying? I've got a few questions. Certain players have been put to the stand and need to answer for their sins. So I can't wait to get into it.
Absolutely, man. And then we've got Patrick in the building. Patrick, what you say? No Spurs game today, which means there was a loss the weekend.
Yeah, you don't know the routine. I can't stomach to put any Spurs gears on. And yeah, for all you guys that got 3 points this weekend, it must be nice, man. It must be nice.
Doesn't happen often, so I'm grateful for me.
It's crazy. Big up to everybody who's locked in. Like I said, make sure you do like the video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you subscribe to the Mandem's channel as well. Big Six Bands, Patrick's channel, and also Premsy's channel as well, man. But there's only one place to start, man, and it's Arsenal. You know what I mean? I don't know
We
what's
have
going
to.
on, man.
We have to. Okay, now
Listen,
say
man,
that's
it's
the
that
last
time. It's that time, man. It's crumbling round there, man. I don't know, man. Are you feeling the heat, Premsy? What's going on? You man bottling last week. You said it's Anfield. Now it's West Ham.
I'm gonna let Mons take the floor in it. He's only got half an hour here, people, because he double booked it. He didn't respect the show, you know what I mean, people. I'm just throwing him in the frying pan straight away. But go on, Mons, you say your bit in it, what you want to say, because I can see in the group chat, man's bubbling up. You get me, man, are sending me Saka bottles with fucking Saka's head on and
that wasn't actually
and all
me.
of that.
That wasn't me.
Disrespecting the team.
That actually weren't me. That was
Guilty as charged. Listen, I've got to get my shots off when I can take them, man. So yeah.
I don't blame. To be fair, I don't blame anyone really, especially used to at the bottom. You get me? It's not like you've had an outstanding season. You get me? So you've got to be happy over something, innit?
I mean, let's just listen. Let's just have it right. I'm gonna ask now, Premsy. I'm gonna ask you again. 2 points dropped or 1 point gained?
Do you know what? Yeah.
By the way.
The thing is, the thing is with me, look, I just say as is. I don't change my opinion. You get me? At the end of the day, for me, Liverpool game, it's a different game to West Ham. West Ham, we've historically got a top record away at West Ham, at home at West Ham. You get me? These guys are being pumped in 5-1, 5-0 against Newcastle 2 weeks ago. So that situation there is an absolute embarrassment. The Liverpool game, for me, we're going to have to wait and see if that's a point gained now. For me at the time, point gained. But like I'm saying, this is just my opinion in it. This is my opinion. You've got your opinion. Patrick's got his own. It's not acceptable to do it twice in a row. Definitely. That's why the West Ham situation for me is just not good. And if anyone's seen my post-match reaction, they'll probably see man was not happy at all. But again, I don't know why Liverpool fans are latching onto it like they've won the Premier League, by Arsenal drawing at them. You get me? I don't know who you are. Judge you, fam. You get me? Judge 8th to 8th yesterday, fam. That's what you need to judge. You need to look at your own team.
All I did was ask you, was it 1 point gained at Anfield or was it 2 points dropped? And now this is where I come in.
It's not over till the fat lady sings, bro, innit? We're going to have to wait.
I know. Listen, you did not hear me say the league was done. I didn't say that. But what I'm saying is, by drawing the game at Anfield, you're giving every other game more significance. And that is the last thing you want to do. And that draw at Anfield took the wind out yourselves.
No, you know what, man? I hear you. I do hear you.
Hold on for 5 more minutes.
You're not going to win every game in the league.
And you won at Anfield, you are smoking West Ham. I promise you, with the confidence you take into that next game, you smoke West Ham. But now, there's added pressure. And do you have enough man in your squad to deal with pressure at the moment? Not more than Manchester City. So this is just Why make the job harder than it needs to be?
But the thing is, man,
if you
you're saying all of this, but I think every single person already knows. We haven't got the same kind of level of caliber of players as Manchester City. Everyone's already said this season we're punching above our weight. You get me? So I don't think anyone's daft here. You get me, people? We know what the situation is. I understand what you're saying. It's not like I'm dismissing what you're saying, that dropping 2 points at Anfield, in your opinion, is the catalyst of Arsenal potentially falling off, which I don't think you're wrong, because if we do hold on for 5 minutes, it's a different outcome. I think we do go on and beat West Ham. However, you can't expect to win every single game in the Premier League. You have to show Liverpool some sort of respect. Teams have gone there this season and they've been touched up differently. You get me? We're probably one of the only teams that have actually took anything away from Anfield. And sometimes in a title race, you have to, if you can't win that game, don't lose the game. You get me? At least walk away with something, because I seen us get pumped in differently at Anfield, but yet we walked away with a point. It's just like with the situation with Saka, missed a penalty. People are forgetting last week, Mo Salah missed a penalty. You get me? Not only that, opportunities at the back post, opportunities with Konate. Yeah, we might have had a few chances to score as well, and we could have nicked it towards the end, but it didn't happen. So for me, it's a total different game and total different situation to the West Ham one. And I think if, as a footballing man, if you really can't really see that, then you need to give your head a wobble, fam. Big man thing.
I understand. I get where you're coming from, and you have to force yourself to think like this.
No. Trust best believe. It's definitely not, because this is what I'm saying. I'm not like every other Arsenal fan out here. I'm not one of them Arsenal fans that DM motherfuckers, hit up people on Twitter, do all that, going on WhatsApp. I don't do none of that. You get me, bro? I just say what I see. Now, opinions in football can change, because this is what football is. Couple weeks ago, Patrick's telling me Tottenham are going to finish above United, or is very possible to do so. Yesterday, I'm not even bantering. I'm not bantering. I'm just speaking it as it is. Couple weeks ago, Liverpool could potentially be back in the top 4 race. Times change. Games will impact what will happen in the season. And so far, that game against West Ham was a disgrace, in my opinion, because you got to take context out of that game compared to the Liverpool game. I agree that losing a 2-goal lead at Anfield could play some part on the mentality of these players in the West Ham game, because it starts to become shaky leg when you're 2-0 up, and the same things happened last week.
That's what I tried to say last week.
West Ham are no Liverpool, bro. West Ham are below yous, man. They've been fighting relegation. They've been getting pumped in at home as well. You get me? They haven't got a hoodoo at home where no matter who turns up, they pull the socks up. It's a total different situation. I said it after the game. Saka, shit. Partey, shit. Holding a guy that I've been backing. Yeah, no. But look, you got to say
that, by the way. Yes, Saeed, I was getting to that one, but
look, Holding. To be fair, I can't put all the blame on him, because I think the whole team was shit. You get me, regardless. But you got to take context out of that game. You get me? We just was not good enough. And I even said on the last stream, Arsenal will still drop points this season. And I believe Man City will still drop points. What that result has done for us now is we can't afford to do nothing, because in my mind, a draw against Man City and realistically a draw against Newcastle, we win the remainder of our games, we can still win the title. Now that one draw is gone, you get me? So we're having to at least get a point at City, which is looking unlikely at the moment. You got to say it as it is. These men are putting fucking Bayern Munich to the sword. You get me? These men are pumping every single team in. They've got the experience and the know-how. They've got the squad depth in order to get over the line. I'm not dumb and I'm not blind. You get me? It's going to be very difficult, but there's nothing that says we can't go there and get a draw. You get me? Funnier things have happened in football. Brentford have gone there and got a win. You get me? And we did not expect that. So we can't lose all hope. But right now, it's looking slim. It's
looking peak, man. It's looking peak.
Looking slim,
I said on the Big Six, I said, listen, man, it's about tighter pressure. You, man, have Jesus and Zinchenko. And Zinchenko's crying like a baby, man. You know what I mean? I don't know what he needs to fix up and start showing.
He's the one with the experience.
Yeah, but I want to see hurting my players, though. I want to see hurting my
Yeah,
players.
but
'Cause if
hurt
I
and
don't
it's
see,
crying, man. There's like, you know what I
if
mean?
I don't,
There's like,
yeah, but it's people.
fix up, man.
People deal with things differently, innit? Do you know what
Yeah,
I
I
mean?
get that.
I'm telling
But, bro,
Saeed, you're from where I'm from, innit? So you know, if couple man get grabbed, man are pissing themselves. You get me? A couple
yeah, of
man
course,
get grabbed,
bro.
they're on job, innit? It's just the way people deal with certain situations, and I want to see that. I'm not gonna lie, I want to see hurt from my boys because for 19 years plus, yeah, well, it's coming into 20 years nearly. You get me? We've not seen that. We've not seen no fight. We've not seen players really giving a fuck. Now we're seeing it. You get me? And this is the difference. What you've titled there would finishing second for Arsenal be a good season? For me, right now, it wouldn't be a good season now. However, you get me, because realistically, 240 odd days of being at the top of the Premier League, it's going to hurt real bad if we don't win the league. You get me? They've sacrificed every single cup. I was one of the only Arsenal fans, yeah. You could go and watch my AFTV fan cams, my match reactions. Every time we got kicked out of a tournament, I was not happy. A lot of man out there was saying blessing in disguise, you get me? Not for me. You get me? I want to win every competition that we're in. I understand that we might not have the squad to challenge on all four fronts, but go and start your strongest team in these competitions. If you're winning and it's coming to the back end of the game, then start making substitutions and looking forward. You get me? So for me, it would not be a successful season finishing second. But on the other hand, if you look at it and say, is it progress from where we've been over the last 19 years? It's definitely progress where we've been, because this isn't just going to be a season where next season Arsenal are going to fall off. Patrick said something on Premier League Unpacked yesterday, which, to be fair, for me, hit the hammer on the nail. Chelsea, shit, need a rebuild. Tottenham, can't really see them challenging for the title. Potentially, Liverpool, they need a rebuild as well. Can't really see them coming back up challenging for the title. There's going to be players gone. They're going to need to bring players in. Arsenal, United, and Man City are probably going to be the teams that are going to be challenging. You give money to Newcastle, maybe they could probably put a little fight up. But with the inexperience that they got, maybe dealing with Champions League football, that's still a question as well. You know what I'm saying? So this is not just all a failure if we do finish second. In the aspects of winning something and where the position that we've been in for majority of the season, yes, it is. But is in progression as the club? I don't think it is. And that's just how I see it.
I don't know. What do you think, Patrick? Man, is it going to be a failure? Is it a good thing being second? This young Arsenal team that they so-called mention in the media. You know what I mean? There's a lot of pundits out saying, you know, Arsenal's a young team. They can get back and win more Premier League titles. Or is it one of them where, you know, Chelsea will be back, United will be there. You know what I mean? Their team, Liverpool might be back. You just never know. Like, this might be their best opportunity to win something, bro.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to keep it 100 and just talk from a footballing standpoint. Of course, I'm sending shots and I'm having a bit of fun with Premsy and all my boys, but I'm going to be honest. There's Arsenal fans who, like Premsy said, if you lot don't win the league, you're finished. I'm going to come for you regardless of where we finish, because these guys have been on my neck all season. Then there's the decent and humble Arsenal fans who are enjoying the moment, but they're not talking shit to all the other teams. And those guys have got my respect, because Arsenal so far have been the best team in the Premier League. Last couple of weeks, okay, yeah, they've wobbled. But if you're looking at the football that they played and how good they've been and how consistent they've been, every hurdle and every test they've passed it, except for the cups. I agree with Premsy. Everyone's saying it was a blessing in disguise. Now they're looking at like, maybe we were wrong on that. But Arsenal have been fantastic. And finishing second isn't a failure in the context of grand scheme of things, because where they finished last year to where they are now, it's definite progression. We can all see it. The football they play, the way they set up, the way they handle games and handle moments and yada, yada, yada. But to be first all season and then to possibly finish second, that is a failure, definitely, because your objectives do change as the season goes on. You know, you will change essentially like a good coach will change his in-game management and tactics to kind of reflect how the game's going. Arsenal's objectives and priorities had changed as the season progressed, because they could see that they were the best team in the league. And they're like, now we have to go and win it. Strengthened in January, brought in Trossard, who's been a fantastic addition. And so, yeah, for them to now possibly drop off, it is a failure in that respect. But in terms of the whole season, fantastic season. No one can really chat to them in that sense. But I don't know. I'm in two minds. To say that, is this their only chance of success? Probably not. If you're being honest and look at the team, they're on an upward trajectory. And other than Man City, I don't really see anyone else really challenging them next year. Newcastle, yes, they've had a good season, but I'm still not sure whether they're going to continue to go like that, if they're going to plateau, flatline, or go down. Tottenham and Liverpool, like Femzi said, and I said yesterday, they need additions. But as you know, 2 or 3 players can change a whole team and season. And then you've got teams like Brighton and other teams that, you know, had a good season. We'll have to see where they are. So in a nutshell, yes, it's disappointing if they do finish second. Of course it is. But if you look at it and be honest, from where we thought they were going to finish at the beginning of the year, I had them as in the top 4. That was it. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah.
I don't like all that. I'm sorry. I've not had. No, by the way, Patrick, you're right. No, you're right in everything.
I'm just being honest.
Everyone's right.
Throw no digs. I'm not trying to take no shots.
Patrick, you are right.
I'm just talking football. Do you know what I mean?
It's just, and also for me, I just think that when it's Arsenal, everyone wants to be nice because they haven't been this good. Everyone's just like, oh yeah, you know, next year we'll be back. First of all, they're still in the title race; they can still win it. Second of all, if you're first for the whole season and you somehow don't win the league within the business end of the season, it is a bottle job. If Tottenham were in this position, everyone would, the bottle emojis would be here. No one would care that you went to Anfield and you were 2-0 up. It's just bottle job this, bottle job that. If it was Liverpool, no, you bottled it once again. If it was Man United, God help me. God help me if it was Man United doing what Arsenal were doing and having a wobble, the whole world would be erupting. Do you know what I'm saying? With the size of that club as well. So again, I just feel like with Arsenal, everyone wants to be nice. Everyone wants to do you know what? Let's take the positives from the fact that we went 2-0 up in 2 games in a row and drew both of them. It's not good enough. Yes, at the start of the season, yes, Arsenal weren't expected to do these things. So again, just like how Premzi said, we're not daft. No one's daft. Arsenal have made monumental progress. Of course they have. Of course they have. But let's keep it 100. Circumstances change. Objectives change in football. When you find yourself in a position, especially when you are 11 or you have a chance to go 11 points clear, which is another thing that failed, and then you are now 8 points clear, which could have still been the situation before the last 2 weeks. You look at that situation and go, well, actually, we're in a situation where we can win the league. Forget taking out the positives. You are now the standard. Arsenal FC right now are the standard. They are the benchmark. They have been for the last 8-9 months. So we need to stop considering them a top 4 team and consider them a title challenging team. Because the average age of that Arsenal squad is 25. So will they be challenging next year? Of course they will be. So now start acting like a big club and understand wobbles and bottles when you see them. It's not good enough to drop points at the business end of the season, 2 games on the bounce when you're leading for 2 games. It's not good enough. So I don't really get the whole, let's be nice. No.
To be fair, Mons, I don't know what you've just been listening to, but I don't think anyone's been sitting here saying it looks nice. And you know what? I actually respect your opinion, because out of the last 5 seasons, you're speaking from experience. You get me? You're speaking from a lot of hurt. You get me? Because your team that was going to be winning the quadruple last season obviously didn't do that. You get me? The season before did do that. You've won the Premier League and nobody's seen you lift the trophy. You get me? So I understand that you's man are hurting. I understand. No, big man. I understand. I understand why Mons is saying this, because he's gone through this for about 5-6 years. You get me? And because everyone's been on the back of Liverpool's fucking case, it is all good for clicks and likes and wanting to be that guy on camera and all that. But it is, you got to speak straight up facts. And the bottom line of it is, unless you've not been on Twitter and you have not been on Instagram and you not been on all social platforms, I think 80 to 90% people are probably already giving Arsenal stick. So I don't really understand where all this "let's be nice" is coming from. I don't get it. Everyone on this panel here, like you said just before you had your meltdown, is you agree with what everyone said, in it. Do you know what I mean? So it's not louder clips, louder likes, louder trying to get the following. Speak some football, in it. Because on the grand scheme of it, when you look at this Arsenal team who's finished 8th twice, finished 5th, going on to a challenge, that is an achievement in itself. Like I said, if we don't get over the line, being 240 odd days ahead, it is a failure, because we ain't in any other competition. We've got 1 game a week. I agree with that. But I think you're doing a little bit too much, bro. Big man thing.
It's all
No, but
listen.
you know what it is,
Listen,
though? I think
when
it's
you're the butt of the
talking, innit?
joke, it's always gonna when you're the butt of the joke,
Bro,
it's
but
always gonna feel
with 4 points clear at the top, you are, lad. You're sitting 8th. What are you talking about, bro?
See, but again, you're projecting Arsenal's insecurities onto me. I'm telling you what it is.
I'm projecting facts, bro. Where are we right now?
You're where are you right now?
Where are we?
You're top of the league.
How many points clear are we?
You're 4 points clear when you have to play
So I'm not projecting
insecurities.
I'm not projecting insecurities. I'm stating straight up facts to you in it right about now. That's what it is. You get me, bro? What do you mean?
Bro.
What's that got to do with it? You're going on, yeah. Like we're already out of it. The title's done. Get on Arsenal's next.
You're not out of it. You can still win it. The first thing I said was, first of all, you guys can still win the league. It's still in each of your hands, right? You have to go and play the team that you're competing against. What I'm trying to say is that it's like as soon as things go left, the excuse is it happens. It's
but the thing is, though, it hasn't it hasn't really gone so left, has it? Because you're in a title race, yeah. We've drew 2 games, yeah, out of the last 6, 7 games. We haven't gone on and lost a game. We haven't been pumped in and pummeled by somebody. You get me? We've just haven't won our last 2 games. So I wouldn't say it's fully gone left yet. If we go to Man City and we get beat, then I understand. It has gone left at that point. But right up until now, I think it's a little bit too early to really try to step on Arsenal's neck when we're still 4 points clear at the top of the table, bro. Like I said, I know that Liverpool can speak from experience. You get me? I know it. But funny things happen in football. Funny things happen in football, bro.
This is nothing to do with me. You lot can squeeze positivity like blood from a stone. That's all I'm saying with you.
But this is what football fans should do. That's bullshit. That because that hasn't come out of no one's mouth. All I'm saying is this is what football fans should do. Support your team, get behind your team, and be positive about your team. You got to look at the situation realistically also. You get me? This is why we have these kind of debates and we can talk about situations if this doesn't happen or that doesn't happen. But realistically, yeah, as a fan, I expect you to be positive. I expect you to also say it as it is, game by game basis. You get me? And yeah, last game we bottled it. Last game we were shit. But that's opinions in it. That's opinions for me. But it is, look, I don't know why you're doing all these faces because it isn't it. Like
obviously we both know that we disagree on that, and I won't let everyone. We know the Liverpool game. We both disagree.
Let me tell you something. Half of the Arsenal fan base would say it's 2 points dropped. Half of the Arsenal fan base would say it's 1 point gained. It's all about opinions on that game. I'm not daft enough to not know that going to Liverpool is a very difficult place. I'm not daft enough, but at the same time, I'm smart enough to know going to West Ham, yeah, no game's easy in the Premier League, but going off history, going off recent records against them, going off their last performances from the last 5-6 weeks, we should be winning that. That is a total different situation to the Liverpool one. That's my opinion. You're forgetting 2 games before Arsenal played there at Anfield, they pumped in the inform United 7-0. This can happen there. It's not like it can't happen there. So it's a different situation to the West Ham game. Like I keep saying, last game, horrendous, disgraceful. But at the same time, when we got beat by Manchester City as well, we all thought the same kind of thing. What happened? We went on, they dropped a few points, we managed to gain some ground. It's not over till the fat lady sings in it. That's all I'm saying. I think it's a little bit too early. It's a little bit too early to start saying this and that about Arsenal. Let it come towards the end of the season. Then you can gloat. I'm not, bro. Look, I'm not deflecting.
I'm telling you, man, real. You just don't want to hear it.
No. I think you're just chatting a lot of nonsense, and I think it's for a lot of likes and a lot of clicks, and you want to be that guy. And I think you need to allow it, fam. That's what I think you need to do.
Let me get these super chats in.
Trust me, bro. Man's from the real sides, and I know real people when I see real people. Someone mentioned in there diva, and you know what? That's off to you. I think you hit the hammer on the nail there. You get me? Liverpool diva. You get me? Surprising.
Canadian. Let me read some of the super chat. And by the way, there's over 500 in here. I want to move on to Liverpool and Trent as well before months goes. Canadian Gunner says Premsy flick the bugs life on the bottom right to stop being jealous and put some respect on Arteta's Arsenal. Liverpool bottled it 4 times. And Nate H says, listen to light skin tie on the top right. Put marble civet on this waffle. Arsenal fans are the biggest flip-floppers, excuse makers. That's from Nate H. Big up to you. Jacko says, big up to Jacko says, I think Arsenal will struggle top 4 next season. Wow, it's already going for next season as well already. You know what I mean? So,
That's
yeah,
a bit-
man. Before you go,
Look, everyone's entitled to their opinion in it.
Yeah,
You just
yeah,
have to wait and
absolutely.
see. You can only go off what's happening right now in it. And right now, we're still top of the table, 4 points clear in it.
Still confident win the league. Last question on Arsenal.
No.
Still confident win the league.
No,
No,
I'm not.
Okay.
Not confident, but like I said, it's not out of our hands yet, just like it's not out of City's hands.
Okay.
Well,
Okay, let's move on to Trent and Zandrano quickly before Monts goes. Make sure you guys are liking the video, man. There's not even 200 likes, man, and there's over 500. I don't know why people are so tight on the likes, man. It's right on the bottom of your screen. Hit the like
man.
button.
This is entertainment. It's fine.
Yeah, man. Just like the video, people, man. You get me? Monts, chat to me about Trent. Listen, there's a lot of noise last night about Trent, midfielder, hybrid. I'm hearing hybrid midfielder, hybrid this, inverted fullback. What's going on, man? Apart from the fact that you went 8th to 8th, what's going on in Liverpool and Trent Alexander-Arnold?
Hey, watch all that. Hey, watch this. Hey,
What I'm saying is,
hey,
what's
you have no centre backs right now. Yay, hey.
listen,
You know what I'm saying?
don't worry, man. Don't worry. We'll get on
You know what I'm saying?
to that.
Lindelof is in full effect. But listen, Trent, let's be honest. We're hearing a lot about it because a lot of people have been waiting for it for so long. It's only Leeds, though. I'm sorry, it's only Leeds. We went and beat you guys by 7, and what happened after that? We didn't actually win until yesterday. So it's only Leeds. They sat behind the ball. When you have 11 men behind the ball, then Trent can come central, and he can operate his how he plays from and do that deep line midfielder role, especially if Thiago is not playing. But I think if a team comes and plays against us, and you know it's more of a head-to-head type of game tactically anyways, I think we go back to that Trent being at right back, and then he can invert when he needs to, but it's very situational. It's not something that needs to happen every game. I don't want us to think, oh, Trent can go midfield now, so we don't need to buy a midfielder. No, let's not do any of that. We're falling into FSG's hands. We're falling into Jurgen Klopp's hands. It's just not good enough. Like Leeds held 5 from Crystal Palace. It was only right that they should have held 6 from us. So this is not, you know, it's not a crazy feat. I think the thing that Liverpool fans are gassed about is the performance, because we've been needing a good performance for a while now. As I said, we dropped points against Chelsea. The Arsenal game was a draw as well. We lost against City and we lost against Bournemouth. And those are the games, all the games we played since the Manchester United game at Anfield. So we generally needed that performance. I think the return of Diaz and the return of Diaz, the return of Thiago is massive as well. And I'll be honest, I had to give Curtis Jones his flowers. He done his thing.
Yeah, he played well, man. He played well.
He dashed away the Esco, you know what I'm saying, and you know what I'm saying. He grabbed the curling sponge and he got to work. You know what I'm saying. Curtis was cooking, man. So I'm happy for him. But I'm just interested in how many games we're gonna use Trent as that kind of inverted 6, kind of like the Zinchenko role, kind of like the Cancelo role. I'm gonna see how much it works. I think. Because for me, it worked against Arsenal because you pinned them back for 60 minutes, 50, 60 minutes of that game, they were pinned back. So again, when a team is pinned back and a team is, you know, sitting behind the ball, I believe that is when it works. We have 8 games left, I believe. So Liverpool aren't getting top 4. So I feel like now there's no pressure. So I believe Trent will play that inverted role for the rest of the season, and just to see how it works. And if it does work for the remainder of the season, we can maybe go into next season and try and see what happens. But it was a brilliant performance from Trent. I was really impressed with him. And if he can make the position in his own, I think he's going to need to play a lot longer. And I think it's going to be more of a hybrid situation than, oh, my days is a 6 now. You know, I told you he can do it. Like, I don't think it's that sort of situation. Leeds are bummy. They're bin juice. So I'm not going to get too excited.
I do think, though, like, I think away from home this season, though, I think you should really be happy with that result. Not just think, oh, it's just Leeds, because that's the reason you're in this position this season, because obviously away from home is being shocking. So I hear what you're saying, but I think you should take that into account as well.
No,
you think still making top 4 though? You still think this top 4 chance, outside chance? No, not even. You know, no chance, no chance of catching.
We can sabotage Spurs. That's about it. by beating Spurs at Anfield. We sabotaged Spurs, but that's about it.
You will finish 7th. You'll get in the Conference League. Trust me. That's what will
7th.
happen. No, I'm not even disrespecting. I'm actually being honest. That's what will happen. You will finish in the Conference League, and
Make sure you win this league, Premsy.
top season for Liverpool, innit?
Premsy, make sure you win this title.
Top season for Liverpool.
And Premsy, if you don't win the title, it happens. It's football. I might have to bow out. If you tell me it's football, it happens, and when you don't.
Bro, I've already just told you. Is it falling on deaf ears or something? I've told you we don't win it. It's a failure in my estimation of things. You get me? But bro, this season, bro, you can't even look at us twice, bro. Like, you have some self-respect and dignity, bro, in it before you banter anyone else, bro. Look at your team, yeah, and look, that big 6-1 win that you just done. Look what you done. Like my boy Saeed said, 8th till 8th, man. Mad thing.
I haven't, bro. I've been speaking like this to you for the last 4 streams. That's why, again. So this isn't again. This is why I don't get the diva. I don't get the you must be doing this for clicks. I've been like this since I've stepped onto Saeed TV. I've been like this from the jump.
You know what it is? At first I thought it was a joke, but then I realized, you know what? Nah, this guy's for real, man. Right, it's a mad thing.
This is the way it is.
It's a mad thing. All I know is, Mods, this is not that Arsenal fan. You get me? Yeah, you might go on there and you might give this what you give to other Arsenal fans, but best believe I'm not that guy.
But that's what I'm saying. This is but heads. This is why. So you can't be saying like this is for clicks. Come on, bro. Like if this is Patrick, how long have you been doing?
I don't know.
That's been working me for.
That's what I'm seeing. You get me? That's what I'm seeing.
You killing me. You're like,
I've only been on a few streams with you for a minute. You get me? So I'm only going off what I've seen of you, innit, my guy. You know what I'm saying, bro?
Come on.
Yeah, listen.
It's no love lost, but just make sure you win that league. You know what I'm saying?
I hope we do, bro. I pray we do, man. Definitely.
I do.
No, big up, man.
Obviously, man, I do have to shoot.
Yeah. Big up, man.
Patrick, man, you know I love you, man, to bits. Chat, it's all bad. We love each other.
It's all love. You get me?
I think we actually hate each other. Like, chat, come on. You know what I'm saying? Listen,
come on,
smash the like button and subscribe, man. You don't know what it is.
Big up, man. Make sure you subscribe to Big Six Pants, man. Come on, man. Love, bro. Big up, man. Big up to Taron T. Said this Liverpool guy said that he'd get 9 points from City, Chelsea, and Arsenal games. He only got only two in the mud. Big up to Taron with the super chat. AJ with the super chat says, hey, he gets a lot of hate, but I have to say Trent looked great in that inverting role. Praise where it's due. Ping. Liverpool bottled top 4 when they dropped points to Arsenal. Listen, I think they dropped points when, I think they bottled it time ago, man. It's Nottingham Forest away. It's all them results, man. But with Trent, though, I don't know, man. Can he ever be that midfield role? Patrick, I come with you, man, because I don't know, man. I feel like he's a good passer of the ball. He's a good, he's got good distribution and whatnot. But to play in that midfield, man, I feel like you've got to have the engine.
Yeah,
you've got to be, I don't think he has them kind of, attributes.
I think people need to relax as well. Like Mon said, with all due respect, it's Leeds. They're leaking goals left, right, and centre. They have no plan. You're still seeing a hybrid Marcelo Bielsa team where they're rock and roll. Then they're trying to obviously be a bit of Jesse March. Then they're trying to be a bit of this current manager. They're all over the place. Melia, who a few Spurs fans, and they need to slap themselves. They said that he could be Hugo Lloris's successor. The guy's awful. He just lets in everything that's on target. He lets in. So the guy's got no positional awareness. Their defenders are all over the place, midfielders. But going back to Trent, yeah, to be a midfielder in this league and to be a quality midfielder, you need to have an engine. You need to be able to read the game. Your positional awareness has to be good. You have to be intercepting passes. And I don't see Trent really getting stuck in like that. So if you're not that kind of midfielder and you're silky and smooth like a Thiago Silva and you slow the ball down and then it gives you time and space to ping a pass. And again, I don't see Trent doing that. Trent has good qualities, but he's kind of unlucky or unfortunate in the sense where he's not really a fullback or a defender and he's not really a midfielder. So he has got to play that hybrid role, but that means you've got to step up your defensive side, and it also means you need to step up your awareness and also track runners. The amount of times he switches off in big games. Yesterday against Leeds, forget it, because he doesn't have to do anything other than go forward. But the amount of times you've seen in against Man United, Man City, Arsenal, where someone just runs in behind him or even sneaks in behind him and he doesn't pick them up and then it's too late. So obviously, yeah, it's a good start, but it's Leeds. Personally, he needs to just work on his defensive awareness and positioning, but he's a fullback, he's a defender. I couldn't see him being a midfielder because there's a lot more to his game that he needs to develop, but who knows? Who knows?
What do you reckon, Premsy? You know, Trent, obviously there's this kind of feeling of inverted fullback roles and whatnot.
Yeah,
Do you like it,
quickly
man?
say, sorry to interrupt you. Put that comment up. Was it EYEM? I don't know how to pronounce it. EM. Trent can boss Liverpool midfield. I think that's a perfect comment. I think Trent Alexander-Arnold moving forward next season, they could use him as a midfielder, bro. I think if you put him into the midfield, get a proper right wing back in, somebody who can defend, can attack, I think they will get the best out of Trent. And also it gives them a bit more options as well, because we all know Liverpool haven't got money to spend. You get me? They haven't really, they're not going to go out there and spend 200-300 million. You get me? They've already strengthened up the front line. Now they need to build in midfield. If they go and sign maybe one midfielder, two midfielders, you get me? They can fit Trent in the midfield as well. And I think that system would work better as well. I think there'll be less eyes on him as well. I think pressure does get to a player, especially when social media in this day and age, bro. When we were growing up, there was no social media. You get me? Footballers, if they made a mistake, unless it's getting wrote about in the newspapers and that, you're not really hearing about it. You get me? They can focus and carry on with what they're doing. With Trent Alexander-Arnold, because he's been at such a high level for a long time, as soon as he makes a mistake or as soon as defenders, attackers get at him easily, oh, he's the worst defender, this is happening, that's happening, he can't do this, he can't do that. He'll end up playing on the guy's mind. Do you know what I'm saying? Obviously, I understand that he's playing in a certain position, but that's not by his choice. That's just where the manager's putting him out there. You get me? You put him in midfield, yeah, he'll be able to do a job. We've seen at the Arsenal game as well. He was drifting into midfield. He was playing that role and he did well. You get me? They managed to nullify a lot of our attacks because defensively, he's still got that in his mind where he's been a defensive player now for so long. He'll have them attributes to track back. He'll have them attributes to put in a foot. Do you know what I mean? But his best attributes are going forward, finding a diagonal pass, spraying the ball, maybe going on the overlap as well here and there. And I think that's where they can benefit from Trent the most. You get me? I think that's just what it is. I think with Trent Alexander-Arnold, you got to give the guy praise as well. As much as I'm bantering Liverpool and Mons, yeah, look, even though they've only won 4 out the last 5 Prems, they're up against a Man City team that's absolutely phenomenal. You get me? They're absolutely phenomenal. So it's one of them situations where I think Liverpool really have to rebuild. I can't see Liverpool coming back into it next season unless they spend a decent amount of money, bring in good players to then start challenging. I think everybody around is going to get better. The likes of Brighton, the likes of Brentford, the likes of Newcastle. People are talking about Arsenal like we're not going to spend no money in the summer. You think even if we do finish second place, do you think the Cronkies are going to look at that and think, you know what, we're right there and thereabouts? It makes sense to spend that money. And I think Arteta's there to put that in their ears as well and convince them, like we've seen so far. He's already got them to spend money. United are going to improve. So it's going to be slim. It's going to be slim.
Yeah, 100%.
Depending on what Chelsea do, depends on what manager they bring in. You don't know. They can bring in a manager that might hit the ground running. So I think Liverpool, it could be. The only thing they've got going for them is that they've got Jurgen Klopp. Next season, Salah, he's a year older as well, innit? So you're going to have to take that into context. But I think with Trent Alexander-Arnold, I think if I was them, obviously I'm no manager and what do I know, but I'd probably put him in midfield.
I think, like I said to you, it's just one of them where everyone's going to get better next season, innit? But I think this season, for Liverpool not to get top 4, I think it's damaging, man. I don't think they can spend that money, what people are saying. I really don't. They might go and get a Mount. They might go and get, you know, whoever is in there. But I think it's going to be damaging, man. Obviously, for Tottenham as well, they don't get into Champions League football. I think it's peak for them anyway. You know what I mean? Next season, regardless, because I feel like next year, with if you don't get the right manager in as well, it's peak, man. So I don't know, man. It's going to be interesting next year, man. To have
what it is as well, Saeed.
Chelsea and Tottenham, and no possibly Tottenham and Chelsea Liverpool in the top 4. Is that even happened before? Like, I don't think it has it?
As in what, this year or next year? I don't think, you know what, for us, I don't think our situation is that crazy in terms of fixing. You just need a good manager to come in. You need to go back to a back 4, forget this back 5 crap, and bring in a decent midfielder. And that will solve 90% of our problems. And then also rotate the squads, because these managers, as in Conte and Stellini, they've played the same fucking team week in and week out for the 38 games, 30 games, 32 games, even when the team's looking crap, even when there's no creativity, even when you can see it's not working. They're so stubborn. I mean, we brought Danjuma on for 15 minutes. You saw the difference he made. You know, you got Sarr, who played brilliantly at AC Milan away, and San Siro partnered with Skip. That sounds like a horrible midfield partnership, but the boy's done well. And then as soon as we got back to the Premier League, he played Højbjerg again. Fraser Forster, who everyone laughed, is a decent backup goalkeeper. He was playing really well. As soon as Hugo Lloris was back, he brought him back. So these kind of things, a decent manager doesn't do that. So I do think that with 1 or 2 additions, and obviously a good manager, Tottenham's problems won't be as magnified and as bad as maybe like Chelsea's, even Liverpool to a degree. There's stuff to work with our team, but it depends on, like you said, who the manager is.
There will be definitely a rebuild, though, Patrick. Like, you got to have,
of course,
that time, because the thing is, you need to learn when to let go of certain players as well. Like, I honestly believe it's time for the likes of Son and Kane to leave the club. Times of the likes of Dyer to leave the club. All these kind of players, to bring in young, fresh, hungry faces. Bring in a manager that can maybe do what Arteta's done. Do a little bit what what's his name, Ten Hag's doing, you get me? And I think that is going to take time. So I don't think next year, regardless whoever you get, if you still keep the same kind of crop of players and add 1 or 2 players to it, I can see you still being in the same situation. I think
well, maybe when I say 1 or 2, sorry, I do mean also getting a centre back. I even said in the summer when we didn't sign a centre back and a lot of people were raving about our window, I said without a decent centre back, still going to be issues. I agree. Eric Dyer, forget him. He should never be. You know, there's talks that they're looking to issue a 3-year contract extension, but because there's been so much doom and gloom and negativity, they don't want to release it just yet. So they're waiting for a good time to release it. That for me just shows the ambition of the club that it's not there. We've got no.
What about Harry Kane? You seen that report there? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Harry Kane, like obviously PSG are looking to come get him. Like, is that a worry for you? Are you bothered if Harry Kane stays or goes? Like, in a sense of, because you know where you need to build on from next season. Like, you're gonna need to solve the situation about your team with or without Harry Kane. Like, where are you in terms of Harry Kane now?
I'm 50-50, man. Part of me obviously wants to keep Harry Kane because he's our best player, and you want to, you don't want to ever lose your best player. But also at the same time, Harry Kane is also part of the problem. And every time something happens or Harry Kane doesn't perform in the big game or doesn't turn up, he's almost like you can't criticize him, or he's above being criticized. He's also part of the issue, forcing himself back early in the Champions League final when he wasn't ready and fit to play against Liverpool. He was a statue. And Pochettino should have let Lucas Moura, who ran havoc, obviously against Ajax in Amsterdam, and then he was, thrown back onto the bench. So these things, I think for me, Son stays. I'm 50-50 about Harry Kane. Obviously, I'd love if he does move outside of the Premier League. I wouldn't want to see him at United or whoever it could be. But the reality is he's not going to leave the Premier League because he wants to beat Alan Shearer's record. So I'm 50-50 about that. But again, it just depends on the manager and the personnel. But realistically, with this board, it doesn't really, nothing's going to change, because for us to really make those moves, you need to really invest, get rid of the crap and go again. And I just don't see them doing it. I just don't think they've got the know-how or that they want to do it, really. That's the bottom line. So Davinson Sanchez, Eric Dyer, Højbjerg, who else? Ben Davies, these kind of guys, Hugo Lloris, they need to get binned. And like you said, young, hungry faces, a refresh, new manager. Obviously,
again, who's the new manager? This is the thing. He's got quiet.
Yeah, exactly. Until you know who the manager is.
They need Nagelsmann in that.
Nagelsmann.
And you know what, Patrick? I hear your pain in the sense that you don't want him to go to any other Premier League team, because I was the same with Robin van Persie. You get me? And I think most teams are like that. If you got a really top player, you don't want him to go to another Premier League team. And I think Levy will price him out of that. I think the Alan Shearer record, he's just going to have to bite the bullet on that, because as a player, you got to then look at it. If an opportunity does come from PSG, you're definitely winning something at PSG in it. So are you just going to want to cling on to that record, or are you going to actually want to go and win something? You get me? So I think I don't think United or anyone's going to be paying 80 to 100 million for him with a year left on his contract, bro. I think that's just not business savvy. You know what I'm saying? Even though he's quality and he could maybe at United make that money back in shirts, and if he wins them the league or wins them the Champions League, if they're in it next season, then they've earned the money back. But it's still a risk. I can see him going to PSG, man, even though I've been screaming United all this time. But
there was links to Bayern Munich before as well. PSG, they make a lot of sense. But like you said, I don't know. With Daniel Levy, the guy's he's just bad for business in both senses. Yes, of course, in the sense like you don't want to lose your best players, but Also, don't hold a player to ransom. Like, you're not really going to get the best out of someone if you're, holding them against their will, running down the contract. Then he's free to leave and go wherever he wants anyway. But you're never going to see the best of a player when they're stuck and forced to play an extra year when they don't want to be there.
Maybe you need to change your mindset. Maybe you need to get relegated and then win the league and get promoted. At least you won the league then, innit? Fucking hell.
Unfortunately, that won't happen. And I was saying that, all jokes aside, I said if we don't make top 4, which I don't think we will now, after dropping, we had a favourable run in Southampton, Everton and Bournemouth. We ended up picking 2 points up out of 9. So for me, top 4's gone now. Newcastle on the horizon.
You think
yeah, I do. Because, if you would have picked up, you would have thought, let's be honest, you would have thought we would have got 9 points out of those games. We would have been comfortably third right now. And then you got a bit of a buffer. When we play Newcastle United, even if we draw or lose those games, you still then got the rest of the games to go. But the fact that we got 2 points out of 9 against relegation fodder, for me, I think it's done, man. Because then you got to look at the rest of the
game in hand. So
yeah, exactly. And the teams around us have got a game in hand. The Premier League is crazy. We could end up beating Newcastle. We could end up beating Man United. It's not realistic, but it could happen. We just don't know. This league's been nuts. And Tottenham, for all of our crapness, we still scored the 3rd most amount of goals this year, which still blows my mind. We've won the 4th most amount of games, which again blows my mind. So there's still something there. But then you also look at, we've got to play Liverpool, Palace, Villa, Leeds. So it's quite a tough fixture running. So I don't see us getting it. So for me, then I would hope we would drop out of Europe altogether, which means finishing 8th. But that's unrealistic. It's not going to happen. Unfortunately for me, I see us finishing 5th to 6th, which, you'd never want your team to finish. Of course, as a fan, you want your team to finish up as high up as possible. But for me, finishing 8th would mean we'd really drum that message home. And for Levy, that's the only way he will actually wake up. Because for me, a part of me doesn't want us to get top 4, because if we get top 4, it papers over so many cracks. And in our last game of the season, in that program, when Daniel Levy writes his message to the fans, he'll turn around, or even after the season, and say, "Oh, this is a good season. We achieved our objectives and all this crap." And finishing top 4 only isn't an objective for a big club. You should be trying to win trophies, progress, get better. And obviously the brand of football has been horrible. And with the way that we're playing, when we got rid of Conte, if we're being real, any manager or chairman worth his weight in salt would have gotten a decent manager then in the interim. We had 10 games to go. We could have comfortably bagged top 4. But when you leave Stellini in, who was Conte's, right-hand man, is number 2, Conte 2.0, it just goes to show it was the cheap, easy and safe option, which ended up costing us, because as you can see, we've been crap in every game. We fluked it against Brighton. We're lucky to get the win there. Other than that, the performances have been abysmal, and we are where we deserve to be. So it's a shame, man. It's a big shame.
It's a mad season, man, because you got to remember Brighton and Aston Villa in there, man. You know what I mean?
I know.
They can get Champions League football. You got Newcastle in there.
Listen, in the ideal world, I want them to finish above us, but I can't lie to you. I don't think they will. I just don't think I just can't see it happening personally.
It's a crazy season, man. I don't know. You never know. Villa, the way they're playing Villa at the minute, they're playing
bro. What a job Emery's done there, man.
Yeah.
100%, man.
Even De Zerbi, man. You got to think they lost Graham Potter, where everything was looking up for Brighton. They had good play. Everyone was on board. They had a proper system and everything. De Zerbi's come in and just took it to the next level as well, man. These other teams, like even Brentford and stuff like that, man, this next season, they're going to be looking like an attractive opposition to other players as well.
Yeah, 100%, man. I think Unai Emery is a top manager. And then you got Brighton in it. You know what I'm saying to you? And everyone's going to raid them this summer. You got Caicedo, McAllister. These guys are top baller. Mitoma, for me, is a top player, man. You know what I mean?
What? As I seen as well, Saeed, as well. Obviously, I was watching TalkSport not so long ago, and I think they were doing a comparison regarding the Tottenham and Newcastle team, and they were saying player for player, who would you have in the team? You get me? And I think Newcastle players more or less came out on top, going back from the defense, goalkeeper, obviously it's Kane and Son, whatnot. But majority of the players, if you go for player, even down to their midfield, they were probably picking the Newcastle, and that just shows you where it is right now. And if you want to get into that top 4 and you want to be pushing as far as you can up the table, you got to be having better players than the teams above you. And I think with Tottenham, it's just Daniel Levy. Yeah, he's got them to a certain standpoint where they're now called a big club. They've got a big stadium. They've got revenue coming in. They've got players like Kane, Son. They can attract players like Antonio Conte and Mourinho. But the bottom line of it is they're spending the money in all the wrong places. They need to really not be so sentimental, because Arsenal were guilty of it before Arteta come in, holding on to players, not really wanting to let players go. And I keep touching on it. I think this season it's time for Spurs, even though obviously I don't wish them well at all. You just, as a footballing perspective, they really got to change things around. Otherwise, it's not going to be pretty for them moving forward for a lot of the seasons. You get me? Because everyone's strengthening, man.
Yeah, it is, man. It's like I said, you know what I mean? This summer's gonna be mad, man. I think every club's gonna want to improve. United's gonna improve as well. You know what I mean? Next summer, everyone's gonna go for the same players, man. This is why I feel like Champions League football will be key to kind of maybe players like thinking, you know what, forget Tottenham, I'm gonna go to United. Even Newcastle. I think Newcastle, man. I seen today, you know what they're gonna go for in the summer. Declan Rice, Maddison. You know, these are top players, man. You know what I mean?
Do you know
They're gonna
what?
go
I can see him coming to us. You know, you're not seeing him getting Odegaard to sign his shirt and that. After
Yeah,
the
but
game.
then again, he's got bare people signed his shirt, man. You know what I mean? He's got Yaya Toure, he's got all the City players in his back door, man. You know what I mean? So he just loves collecting shirts, man. You know what I mean? So don't get too excited over there, man. You know what I mean? So I don't know, man. I think Declan Rice is a quality player, man. I don't know how much he's gonna go for though. That's the only problem.
Probably
50
go for
million.
80. I'm backing that.
Yeah,
80 mil, man.
60 to 80. I think last year West Ham kind of overdid it, and they expected. I don't know if there'd be a big bidding war. They expected there to be a bidding war, but I think Arsenal will probably bag him. It makes sense. London boy, stays in London. Arsenal makes a lot of sense. He's got a lot of friends there from the England camp. You know, him playing through the ranks. That for me makes a lot of sense.
And plus, if Arsenal are willing to spend 75 million on Casado,
yeah, it makes a lot of sense to go.
They've got the money there, innit?
And Saeed, I know you made a point about Champions League football. With or without Champions League football, we've had Champions League football for a long time. Like, we've been in the Champions League consistently for the last 6 years or whichever. Yes, maybe a year or two out for whatever reason. The caliber of players are still being what it is. So for me, that's not really a bargaining chip for Tottenham. So it doesn't really matter. It's just about getting the right manager in, obviously the right DOF. Right now, our DOF's in the bin. The case is tomorrow. Let's find out what happens. It's a travesty that he hasn't been fired as soon as this whole thing.
Oh, is it tomorrow the case?
Yeah. So it basically he appealed it. So it was a worldwide. It's meant to be just an Italian ban. Then it got stretched to worldwide. So he can't do anything in football. He's appealed it. The hearing is tomorrow. So then we'll find out what's going on. But as soon as that happened, Daniel Levy should have got rid of him. Why have you got a DOF where we don't know what's going to happen? And how can we, without a manager, have someone doing all of that job when there's no one there? So yeah, it's a bit mad the way Tottenham's ran. And the thing is, I've been Levy out since about 14, 15. And back then people thought I was mad. They thought I was a nutcase. I was just like, what other chairman in the league? It was all about them. I never hear about the Man United chairman. I never heard about the Arsenal chairman back then. Never heard about the Villa or whoever, because Daniel Levy just wants to be the man, and it's all about him. We were messing up deals with Grealish. We were messing up deals with even Sadio Berahino back when he was a baller, and we all wanted him, and we've messed up that deal. So there's been so much going on, and now people say, "Oh, Tottenham's a well-run club. Tottenham this," and we're not. We're not, and you can see it unraveling. And yeah, until Levy goes, it's going to be the same old shit. So yeah, it's not looking good, man. I can't lie. It's not looking good.
It's peak, man. It's peak, man. And obviously, hopefully, Arsenal, for you lot, you got to fix up as well. You're playing on Friday, man. You know,
we need to
about now.
Bro, we need to pull our socks up real fucking quick, bro. The socks need to get pulled up. Yo, definitely, man. Like, we need to, I think seeing Saliba back in training, that'd be a big plus if he could come in. Allegedly, he's looking to risk his injury to get worse in order to try to see us out for the rest of the season. If we could come in, that just gives us that composure in the back line, and that partnership between Saliba and Gabriel is strong. When Saliba's not there, you can see Gabriel making mistakes as well. He doesn't look as composed. I think we definitely need to get him back in. But I think Southampton, like, do you know what? I can't even think that we'll just walk over them, because I thought the same thing about West Ham and look how that turned out. So I think we've got to get the win. I think the difference is we're at home. We've had 2 away games. People are seeming to forget that our last 2 games have been away from home, and they're not being at home as well. So we get that victory there. That takes us 7 points clear at the top going into the Man City game on Wednesday. Then hopefully, fingers crossed, if we do end up getting a draw there, which to be fair is looking very unlikely, and that's just saying it as it is. You get me, City are looking fucking phenomenal at the moment. So if we can end up getting a draw there, then the season's back on in a good sense. And like I said, even though all Arsenal fans are disappointed, all Arsenal fans are pissed off with certain people's performances and Saka, all of these guys, it's not over. It's fully not over. You get me? I felt defeated after that West Ham game. But when you look at the bigger picture, it's Premier League, innit? Get me? Who says that Man City ain't going to drop some points? Historically, over the last couple seasons, in the last 10 games, City have dropped points. You get me? You could go back and look at it. You know what I'm saying? You've got to respect these other teams as well. There's nothing to say that they're just going to steamroll everyone. Like, there's nothing to say we're going to just steamroll everyone. So there's a lot to fight for, and there's a lot to still be positive about. Do you know what I mean? Even though we've had some disappointing results of late, just keep your chin up in it. At the end of the day, if we do it, we do it. But as an Arsenal fan, this is all I've been crying out for, is to go every single season and believe my team can challenge for the title. If we don't win it, we don't win it. But the next season, I know that I'm going to go there and I'm going to know that we're going to be looking for the big trophies. We're not just participating in the league and trying to get fourth spot. You get me? And this is where the mentality change. Yeah, other rival fans are going to banter us and whatnot. But as fans, we know where we are as a club, innit? And like I said, before the start of the season, nobody's seen us being in this position. Again, we don't win it after being there for so long. For me, it is a failure. But we have to rebuild if we don't win it, add more quality. Declan Rice. And you know what? Just a quick one as well on Declan Rice. I don't know if you know about Bill Gardner at all. Obviously,
Who?
Bill Gardner. He's
No.
Bill
that?
Gardner. No.
he's West Ham former, like top boy, should I say? You get me? From back in the day, 70s, 80s, 90s. Obviously, my man was like a proper. He was their biggest guy in it. So like films like Green Street and all that's that kind of regarding him in it. So him, he did a podcast with James English about a year ago, and even he was saying that Declan Rice, he knows his mum and dad, he goes away with him, that the guy's a proper good lad. When certain people were dying, he would take his time out to come out and try to encourage these kind of players. Now, Arteta looks at not just what people could do on the pitch, what they could do off the pitch. And that's why I think Declan Rice would be a good fit for us. Go out there, go and get him, and it's happy days. Somebody in the comments saying Premsy is backtracking. Unless you're deaf, yeah, then I don't understand, or you're dumb. I don't understand what you're talking about, you get me? Or that third eye is not working, you get me? So sort it out, people. I'm just stating facts as it is.
Absolutely, absolutely. Listen, we're going to wrap it up here, man. Big up to everybody who's locked in. Big up to everybody who's watching on the playback. Make sure you like the video. Like I said, man, it is free to do so. Helps the algorithm, people. For those that don't know, YouTube is all about likes and, you know what I mean, and that will help the algorithm. So please do that. Big up Premsy as well for tuning in, bro. Love for you coming on, man.
No, respect, bro. Obviously, I appreciate the show. I appreciate you, Patrick, Mons. It's good now that, like I say, I've got someone to argue with properly. You know what I mean? And I think I've found my my match up with Mons as well now. But big up Mons as well. Go check out Big Six Pants. Check out Patrick, Saeed, Premsy TV. Appreciate a subscribe as well, as can't do it without you lot. Just speak nothing but facts, you get me? Whatever's on my mind is coming out. Yeah, I might get a little bit rattled, but it is what it is, people. Where I'm from, I don't play no games, you get me, bro? I'm not really a YouTuber, you know what I'm saying, people? So
come on, man. Big up as well, Patrick. Make sure you go follow him on his socials there. Big up to you, Patrick.
Yeah, man. Always love, always a pleasure. Yeah, a lot of people in the comments saying, Patrick, get onto Premsy. It's too early for me to get onto him. And like I said, to be fair, of course, on this show, yes, I will get onto him, but Premsy is a good guy, and he's not one of the annoying Arsenal fans. All the annoying Arsenal fans who are on my WhatsApp, in my DMs, on my Insta, messaging me, those are the ones that are going to get it. On Twitter, I won't say no names, but there's people making videos and atting me 3 or 4 times a day. They're the ones who are going to get it if Arsenal don't win the league. But yeah, anyway, I digress. Great show. Follow me on Twitter. I'm going to be on the Spurs Chat podcast with Chris Cowlin this week. Also going to be with Ricky Sachs and the rest of the boys on their show on Saturday. So that's another massive one. So yeah, all good.
Absolutely, people. I'm going to be doing the watch along after this Chelsea game. Make sure you tune in for that one. Also, Napoli game as well. I might just watch the Napoli game because that's probably the more better game. But I will be tuning in as well, seeing what the result is for the Chelsea game as well. But yeah, man, like the video on your way out, man. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. And yeah, man, I'll see you next time for the Best of the Rest show. We're out. Peace.